What is up, boys and girls? We are back in the garage again today. So just a couple of quick updates. The S550 right here behind me, the 2020 Mustang, is getting close to being done. The turbo kit is complete. The exhaust is on the car. Everything in the engine bay is even done for the most part, with the exception of the fuel system. So what I'm going to do is flip the camera around, take you on a quick tour of the car, and then we're going to talk about some shop updates, some things that I'm going to do in the garage next. All right, so we got everything done under there. Exhaust is on the car all the way out to the back. Got the Bassani catback set up on it. Turbos are still ready to be turboing. Drive shaft safety loop. I don't know if you can see it up in there, but there is a one-piece drive shaft. Maybe, maybe not. So the only thing left really is to hook up this huge pile of fuel lines, run the wiring in the fuel pump controller, and then that will be the end of it. As far as the work portion is concerned, there's not a whole lot left to do. Maybe some of the plastic cowling and whatnot in the engine bay. This stuff that goes right in here, and then the cover that goes over the top, and the strut tower brace. And then that will be the end of it, aside from loading the tune, which is coming from the place in Florida. What's that place called? Anyways, I didn't pay for it. Whatever. So next, the big thing. It's no secret that I like to make stuff, all kinds of doodads and whatnot, and that's why I have machine stuff like this behind me. And this tooling right in here is for the CNC machine. That is the CNC machine. It just hasn't been operational in quite some time. And then, of course, that is the manual version of the CNC machine, pretty much the same thing. So what I have done is I have bought a, come on camera, there we go. I have bought a new controller board for this machine. Long story short, I took it apart for some upgrades to the software and wanted to change a bunch of stuff around. Got in over my head with some Linux stuff that I'm totally not familiar with and just simply don't have the time to learn. And ended up going back to the Centroid, or actually not going back, upgrading to the Centroid Acorn, because I've never had it on a DIY milling machine like this. So that's going to be huge, big improvement over what I had before, Mach 3. Not a fan of it, sorry, is what it is. The Centroid Acorn stuff has a really robust form of conversational programming, and for those of you who are not familiar with CNC stuff, think of it as fill in the blanks. Say you want to drill a bolt circle, and all you tell it is how many bolts or how many holes you want to drill in the bolt circle, the radius of the bolt circle, the depth, and things like that, and then it assembles the program for you. So super handy, super helpful, and I need the machine running because I got stuff to make. So that leads me into the stuff for Bob. So I got a bunch of new parts. They're in the house and boxed up, so I can't really show you this stuff, but we got some new Racecraft control arms for the front. New caster camber plates, because the wheelie that it did in the left lane at XRP kind of tore up the caster camber plates when it came down. Even though my impeccable pedal job brought it down nice and easy, it still wasn't good enough. Let's see, what else did we get? Motor plates and mid plates. So it's not going to have stock style motor mounts anymore. Big frowny face there. Let's see what else. We got almost all the parts for the motor. The pistons are on order. The cam is here. Yeah, so Bob is well on its way, even though we haven't touched him. Now, let us get started with the Centroid upgrade that is going on for the milling machine. Okay, some of the OGs may remember this. This is the control cabinet for the CNC machine, and it was originally, this is what I had mentioned earlier, where it was being set up for a Linux CNC upgrade, and I just ended up, like I said, it was over my head, and I don't have time or desire to sink that much time into learning it yet, at least. So we're going to simplify this by putting the Centroid controller on it, Centroid Acorn. Touchscreen capability. It's really going to simplify the wiring and all the junk inside, so I think it's a good time to get started on that. Alright, so this is pretty cool stuff. Within about an hour, I had all of the electronics, the old electronics, stripped out of the box, and the new electronics put in it. The Centroid breakout board and the relay board and stuff. So check this out. I think I showed you what it looked like beforehand. Now check it out now. It is considerably less junk in there, and hopefully you can hear me over that fan. And then there's the Centroid screen on the laptop. Now I'm not going to be using the laptop for the long term because it doesn't meet the minimum requirements for the processor and the RAM and so on and so forth. But anyways, it's all wired up, testable. It's working and functioning. Coolant pump comes on. The X-axis moves, so Y and Z should move. They're wired up the same way. So check this out. I'll show you how it works. So if we go over here on the screen, I think you can see me toggling the coolant off and on. And I have a light hooked up to it right now. So that part of it works, and then I have one of the axes motors taken off the machine so I can test it. Now the settings aren't right, so it doesn't move full speed like it's supposed to, but it does move. Check this out. So I think you can see the tape. It's sitting right there on the red box. You see the tape spinning there. So that's actually a pretty big hurdle taken care of. I'm going to add a couple of things to it. I have to hook up the variable frequency drive that goes to the motor that controls the spindle speed. That's really kind of about it. Well, the emergency stop, the limit switches, and the VFD, and pretty much done. It's actually going really quick. So time to move on to the next step. Okay, so I got some very basic test wiring, also known as a rat's nest, going on inside the CNC box, control box, and got everything wired up for X, Y, and Z. So everything should move. And then the spindle, forward, reverse, and brake should be wired up as well. Now it has no speed reference, so it doesn't know how fast the spindle's turning. It just knows that it is turning. So let's test everything out and see how it works. Alright, I still have the light hooked up down there on the floor to the coolant pump circuit. So we'll go ahead and turn that on so we can see everything. And alright, so that works. Now let's test movement. So let's test X. So that's going to be left and right. Okay, that's good. That's good. We'll test Y. So that's going to be in and out. Looks good there. Okay, now we'll test Z. That's going to be up and down. That's good. Alright, last but not least, where the most wiring was done, let's check the spindle rotation. So this should be clockwise rotation, and a medium speed, whatever medium speed is. It's very quiet. It's kind of hard to hear. But that is turning in a clockwise rotation. So let's stop that. Okay, well that's pretty much a success. The X, Y, and Z moves like it's supposed to. Spindle comes on and forward. But what you couldn't see off camera there is I was doodling around with reverse, and reverse doesn't come on. The relay clicks and everything does like it's supposed to. It just doesn't turn on in reverse. So time to do a little troubleshooting, see if we can figure that out, and then we'll take it from there. All right, well, that's a pretty good update. The spindle reverse thing is still there. There's still a problem with it. I have a sneaking suspicion that the laptop that I'm testing with is probably not going to cut the mustard. It was never really slated to be the CNC controller in the first place. It was just here for testing purposes until I get the right PC to run this thing. It definitely doesn't meet the minimum processor requirements and all that other jazz. So having said all that, that is going to be a test for a later day. It looks like everything on the machine works as it is supposed to, with the exception of reverse, of course. So we'll address that at a later time. But outside of that, man, we got a lot of stuff done this week. The blue car behind me here, wherever it is, there it is. That thing is really close to being done. I think I said it earlier in the video, pretty much just the fuel system and loading the tune in it, then it will be complete. Good thing is that Bob over there in the background has some new hot rod parts here. It looks like the cam showed up, but I had to send it back because it was supposed to be drilled for dual pins and it wasn't. The lifters finally showed up. They've been on order for a few weeks. Rings are here. It's pretty much going to come down to just having machine work done here before too long. Pistons are on order. Been on order for a few weeks, so hopefully that turns around pretty quick. And I think we're well on our way to having a race car, or at least working on a race car. So that's it, man. Lots of stuff going on in this video. Hopefully we'll have some better stuff going on in the next one. The blue car is going to go on the dyno soon and all that jazz. So anyways, enough of the mumbling and rambling. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I sure appreciate it. If you have not, please hit that subscribe button and notification icon and all that neat jazz. And outside of that, we will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.